took a bit of a kick on the shin with that budget. You lot got a knee in the nuts and a light hammer blow to the back of the head.
And we will not be beaten.
I'm here in Whitehall in front of a JCB, a fantastic digger and or farm equipment. We've been interviewing farmers all day. We've seen Jeremy Clarkson speak. It's been a great day. The vibe of misunderstanding from the government is very high. It seems like people are very unhappy with Labour and Starmer. Someone pointed out something really interesting, which is there's side window, which has essentially been set for farmers where they're being given a date to die by, which is incredibly dark, and I think something that isn't being taken into account is the amount of that there will be because of this new policy. The people on the ground here are fantastic, everyone's been very well behaved, and the police have had no real problems. Definitely one of the more civil protests that I've seen, especially recently in London.
Basically, they've been saying on social media, everyone put your wellies on today. I don't care if you're in a town, a village or the countryside. Put your wellies on today and show support to our farmers.
Do you have a personal relationship with farming?
My father used to be with the National Farmers Union, and he always used to take me around the farms when I was young. Well, not so young as well. And yeah, fantastic lot. They don't deserve this whatsoever.
What is the British Farmers Union? British Farming Union, even?
I just copied the sign.
Oh, fair enough.
So we're based in Lincolnshire. So we have a family farm. Me and my husband also have a veg farm. Lizzie, they've got an arable farm, and Carrie, they've
Farmer's daughter.
Yeah, in Yorkshire. So yes.
This is a good cause. I was brought up on a small holding, and before I was an MP, I was 22 years in the food industry, buying from farmers.
I live down in Sussex, right in the middle of a countryside area with loads and loads of farmers, and I believe it's really important that we eat more of our own food. It makes us more sustainable as a country, and it's better for food security. And if we tax the people that are producing our food, that's not so good, is it?
This is just the straw that broke the camel's back, basically.
It's a lonely industry.
It's, yeah.
You're working on your own, and we don't have
long hours.
Yeah.
Do they know what it's like to get up at 4 a.m. to feed cows and get pooed on? Do they know what it's like to give CPR to a weak lamb? Do they know what it's like to unblock a combine at 2 a.m. with bleeding hands and knuckles because of the thistle in it?
This isn't just about the thousands of people that stood before me. It's about the communities that you live in. It's about the snow that you clear, the parish rooms that you tend to, the hedges that you cut, the ditches that you maintain.
This week in the Lords, I spoke against this proposal from the Labour benches, and from every bench in that House, Conservative, Liberal Democrat, crossbenchers and even the bishops, speakers condemned this policy. You have the backing of the nation for what you are doing here today.
What do you think of the current government?
We're not very happy with them.
Do you think there's any hope for them as a party, or do you think they need to be completely uprooted in the next election?
I think it's hard to have faith in a party that can't seem to get their statistics right.
So I stood as a parliamentary candidate in the last election in mid-Sussex, and these farmers are up against it. You know, the weather conditions they have to face, the increase of fertiliser, there's an increase in costs in seed, there's an increase with fuel. So they've got an enormous amount that they're tackling, and we should be supporting them in our policies and making it easier for them to feed us.
The thing is, land is expensive, and farmers are farming the land. We're not selling it to earn lots of money. So to put a massive inheritance tax on the land will put farmers out of business, and it really is going to affect the smaller farmers. And yes, £1 million does sound a hell of a lot of money, but when you equate that to land, it really isn't a lot. Labour has said that the average farm is 200 acres, and it's really not true. So it's going to put a lot of
tractors 100,000 for a new tractor. So like a combine, that's 500,000. So you've seen up to your £1 million just in the tackle to even do any farming without the land or the farmyard or anything like that.
£1 million isn't a lot of money nowadays, is it? Let's face it. Yeah, once you sort of add in the cost of agricultural machinery and other equipment and livestock, Huge amounts of money, and that's before you even get to the land. You know, if you don't have land, you can't feed people. Who's going to buy the land if the farmers have to sell it?
Probably BlackRock or the Chinese.
The farmers are just being attacked. You know, they're capital rich but cash poor. They're going to be forced to sell their farms. They won't be able to pass them on to future generations. And then goodness knows what's going to happen to the land, but I don't think it'll be used for farming somehow. There'll be food shortages, and it'll all be on people like Rachel Reeves's hands and Keir Starmer's hands.
The thing that frustrates us the most is people think, oh, you know, you're farmers, you've got loads of money. We are land rich and cash poor. We take on this property, we are custodians for future generations, and it's so frustrating that it could be taken away and we'll never ever get to that.
It's just a land grab. This is an attack on farming. We've seen what Bill Gates is doing in America. He's the biggest landowner, and this is going to force a lot of land onto the market that never come on. Exactly like HS2 was. It was never about building a railway. It was about getting land and buildings cheap.
Do you think that's kind of people who work with spreadsheets and stuff not missing the point of the actual reality of things like this when you're actually doing it?
I think it's just an easy target. We're an easy target. My husband works 6-7 days a week, like a lot of farmers. We've had a baby this year, and he's missed a lot of the first 6 months of her life because he works really hard, and it is going to affect him. And a lot of farmers work so hard, knowing that they are going to get that land, and probably work for minimum wage. It's devastating, and it will ruin British agriculture for sure.
And it keeps the British countryside sort of clean and away from houses. It keeps it an area for people to enjoy as well. There wouldn't be the beautiful green landscape without farmers keeping it that way.
Greta Thunberg said, shame on you, you're taking away my future. You're taking away our future. And that's what the government is doing to us.
This is about making sure that your way of life continues, that our way of life continues. Farming is the backbone of this country. Without it, we cannot survive. We know that we haven't always got it right, but this policy is so obviously unfair, so obviously cruel. We will do everything we can to make sure that in a few years' time, if they do not U-turn now, we will reverse this tax. Thank you, everybody.
My name's Claire Wise. I'm a beef, sheep and arable farmer from the north of England, and I am average. And I'm here to show those guys over there and the general public what the real average face of British farming looks like. It's 300 acres of average wet land. It's an average damp farmhouse. It's a heck of a big mortgage and an overdraft that after the 3 worst harvests on record keeps me awake at night. My land might be worth £4 million on paper, but I will never, and I hope I never, see that cash.
For the sake of everybody here, and for all the farmers who are stuck at home today, paralysed by a fog of despair over what's been foisted upon them, I beg of the government to be big, to accept that this was rushed through, it wasn't thought out, and it's a mistake. That's the big thing to do, admit it, and back down.
Right now they're just delivering food. There's been a huge food drive, so loads of farmers from up and down the country have donated food which they're going to give away to charity. They said the charity was overwhelmed with the level of donations. And what do you think is going to happen in the next 5 years in England if this continues?
Well, it's worldwide. There's an assault on farming worldwide. There's going to be a worldwide famine, and the flood of people coming from poorer countries to the developed world is going to turn into a torrent.
Yeah. And recently Xi Jinping came to the UK, or they met, and they said that they were proud of our economic policy. What do you think about them closing up to China in that manner?
I'm sure that the policies that Keir Starmer and his government are bringing in, I'm sure he's got little fan pics of Xi Jinping, and he probably asked for his signature, his autograph.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite embarrassing that they've gone to that to endorse their political policy when they've got a $69 million bailout. I wonder if he mentioned anything
about the Uyghurs, but of course we're all the green policy madness, the wind turbines, the solar panels, they're all being made in China using coal-fired power stations. They're laughing at us.
Yeah.
They're completely laughing at us.
So
I feel as though there's a conspiracy to have control over the farming industry so that we can import and export less. Oh, sorry, not export less, but import more. I feel like they want to get us back into the EU. But I also feel as though they're looking for quick ways to make cash. So then at the end of the 4 years, they can say, do you know how much money we've saved? And everyone goes, oh, you're amazing. But actually, you screwed over the biggest industry in the world, the OAPs, the students that want to go to university. They're finding quick and easy ways to make it back. And I just utterly frustrated people think.
We need to keep our land. It's important. We need to keep on producing food because otherwise, well, this country is already pretty much toast, but it'll be even worse off if we can't make food for ourselves. So
their figures are entirely wrong on this. Also, I think really that the premise it has been established that it will not raise that much revenue. It will raise about as much revenue to fund the NHS for a day and a half. Are you really going to target farmers and our food security in everything that's happening in the world at the moment? Your choice. Not a good one you're making.
When you leave here, you don't leave and just think our job is done. You leave and you write. You leave and you go to your constituency meeting. You hammer home point after point after point that your placards make. But you do it with the dignity that you farm with every day.
The choice is theirs. They can continue to insist that they're right and refuse to make any changes and dig that hole deeper and deeper, or they can accept that some parts of this policy were wrong and they can sit down with the farming community and its leaders and put it right. A good government would choose the second. We shall see.
I will protect that farm with every breath, today, tomorrow, and for however long it takes to stop this. And that is what the government underestimates. Because I might be an average farmer, but I'm also an extraordinary human, and so is every one of you that's turned out here today. So I'll finish again with the statistics that really matter. 5 generations, 139 years on my farm, 50,375 days, and 3 children who believe in me and you to save their futures. So buckle up, Starmer, because you're not going to win this fight.